source, there is this ego within us that is telling us what we are doing is right or wrong. It is causing distinctions and divisions. Now, till these distinctions and divisions exist, till the ego puts choice in our head, we can never understand what the truth is. Because the way the God or the Supreme created this world is not a world of choices. But when you put the ego into the human mind, according to our hidden desires, according to our hidden wants, we create choices in this world. This also is explained very beautifully by Lao Tzu. He wrote the I Ching. And he explains a very simple story. He said, I had a small house with a small garden. But in my garden grew a very ancient tree. And I would sit under the tree, enjoy its shade. During the seasons, the tree would give me fruit. I would enjoy the fruit. But he's like, whenever someone came to meet me, they didn't see the tree for actually what it was. It was a provider of shade and fruit. If a carpenter came to meet me, he saw the tree and what did he see? He didn't see the tree. He saw how many beds I can make out of that tree if I cut it down. How many chairs I can make out of this tree if I can cut it down. A trader of wood came, he only saw how much profit he can make by selling that tree. And everyone would suggest Lao Tzu what to do. Someone would say, oh, you have this tree, why don't you sell the wood? You can gain so much of money. And Lao Tzu just tried to explain to people that what you are seeing in the tree is not actual reality. Because the purpose with which the tree was made, it is already fulfilling its purpose. Why did God make the tree? It was not to make our beds and our chairs. It was put there to provide us shade and to provide us fruit. And each tree in this world fulfills its purpose without asking for anything in return. That is the purpose of life. But when you put this ego within the human being, what happens? We forget the purpose and we only remember what we want in exchange. And this is the cause that takes us very far away from our struggle, from our original purpose. So one has to understand the purpose of ego also. Ego itself is not good or bad. It's how you use your ego in your life which will in turn make good things or bad things happen to you. Now someone, like I said in the beginning, that if ego is so bad, why did God put ego in the first place? So it has to do with how we begin to understand this world. When we are all born into this world, aren't we born all helpless? I mean, if I want something, I can't even speak. I cannot even express myself. And it is by the love and nurture of this world that I am capable of understanding this world. It is through the mother's love I begin to understand the world. It is through the father's love I begin to understand the world. And slowly, slowly, the parents' struggle is what makes me. Slowly, slowly they'll teach me how to talk, how to express myself. But till I do not know how to do that, I am a very vulnerable human being. And that is why the ego is instilled in us. How? If you take a seed and you feel it, you touch it, isn't the seed's exterior very hard? You know? Now, if you plant the seed, why has God given a seed such a hard exterior? You will say for its protection. Because each seed knows that there is a certain time when it has to grow. Meaning, if it's too hot outside and the seed sprouts, then what will happen? Too much of sun will not let the plant grow, will not let the seed reach its potential. If it's too cold, then also the seed cannot reach its potential. So when the right time comes, when spring comes, when the weather is absolutely right, and the seed realizes that this is the time when I must grow, but the seed knows that if I must grow, what I have to do first is to detach from that exterior that God has given and let it go. And the moment the sapling lets go of the hard exterior, you see the potential of life within the tree. The tree starts growing, and over time, the tree will reach its potential. In the same way, our sages try to explain that we are instilled in ego. Why? Because when we are very vulnerable, how would we know what is right and what is wrong for us in this world? How do we learn to make our value systems? How do we learn to make differences between good and right? What is humane? What is not? So there is a time when the ego will teach us how to step out into the world. And that is a very important lesson. But then when a person reaches a certain maturity, when a person reaches a certain control of his senses, when a person reaches, that he has a realized mind and he understands the potential that lies within him, then in order to grow further and reach his divine potential, the individual also has to shed what? That thing that protected him. Meaning that we have to learn to mature, to detach from our ego. Now what happens is that usually this is the most difficult thing to do. Why? Because ever since we are growing, it is very easy to be attached to your ego. We are all habitual beings. We make our habits, and those habits are very difficult to change with time. But our sages said that reaching a certain maturity is understanding your spirituality. Now how is that possible? Because I might be 60 years old, I might be a professor, I might be a teacher, I might be a mentor to a lot of people, but I can still be a very immature person. I can be still a very childish person. So age does not signify maturity. Learning a lot of things about the world does not signify maturity. I'm talking about spiritual maturity. Then how do we know a person is evolving spiritually? So I'll give you a very small example. When we all were very small, we all had a favorite toy that meant the world to us. For all the girls sitting here, it might be a doll. For all the boys, it might be a car or an action figure. Now that toy meant the world to us. Every time we would sleep, the toy had to be next to us in order for us to sleep. We would get up if we wanted to eat, the toy had to be in our hand. If we were too naughty and our parents wanted to punish us, what would they do? They would take the toy and lock it up somewhere. And until we behaved and until we realized what mistake we made, the toy would not be given back to us. So just to get the toy back, we would, put up a pretense of being very nice boys and girls. And we would try to trick our parents into getting the toy back. I mean, we all did that, because that is all about human experiences. But what happened? We gave the value to the toy to control our life. We gave it importance. We gave it a value that we believed in ourselves. If the toy is with us, we are the most happiest child in the world. And if the toy is not with us, then we are the most unhappy child in this world. But now I ask you, where is that precious toy of yours? So someone would say, this is not our age to play with toys anymore. What will the world say? Meaning, as life moved on, the value that you gave to the toy diminished. Because you realize that as I'm growing, this thing that I'm playing with all the time does not suit me anymore. And slowly, as your value system changed, you started giving value to other things. You slowly started forgetting about that toy. Now that toy is locked up in some attic, in some box, and we do not even know where it is. Like, it will take us a great search to even find it. So now what has happened is that one thing that you were so attached to does not hold any significance because you do not give it value. So in the same way, our sages try to explain that maturing spiritually is not about detachment of the world. That I give up on everything and I go live in the Himalayas. Because if the mind is attached to the world, then it is the thought that will attach you.
Everyone, please stand up. Please. So dear friends, I was talking about different sects, different religions, different way of life. Some people believe that our sect is better than the other sect. The word different sect, different religion, what is very important is to remove the word different and different. We should have a unified. We should understand the common, the fundamental principle. For example, we bring water from Thames, we bring water from Ganges, we bring water from Mississippi River, we bring water from Havangho, Yangtze, Volga River. And if we examine the water, ultimately all the water from all the rivers is nothing but 2 atoms of hydrogen, 1 atom of oxygen makes 1 molecule of water. It is hydrogen and oxygen, fundamentally. And the empirical of H2O is HO, that is the fundamental. 2 particles are there. In the same way, we study all the religions. The fundamental thing, the Manav Dharma is, the religion eternal is the experience. When Moses goes before Jehovah, he's requesting that I want to experience you. And he experiences Jehovah in form of a burning bush. He experiences light. Even Muhammad alayhi salam, he also experienced light. And the archangel Gabriel requested him, read in the name of Allah, God. Muhammad alayhi salam said, I do not know the name of God because I am not a scholarly person. He says, read in the name of God. What is that name of God? Ultimately, the name of God is the vibration which is within all of us. That is the fundamental thing which is making us live. I am speaking many words. Ultimately, these words are vibration. My vocal cords are vibrating. The vibration goes to the microphone. It is amplified. The vibration of the molecule goes to your eardrums and you are listening to my words. But when we talk about the Logos, when we talk about the Word of God, when we talk about Elohim, that is the Word of God which is in breath. You do not speak it. It is not pronounced. It is in the breath. That is called Elohim. So that is within everybody, within every heart, and that is to be experienced. So the word, the meaning of Buddha is to get enlightened. It means to go within yourself. And that is why it has been said, if thine eye be single, thy body shall be full of light. So we have to awaken the third eye. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about that Arjuna, you can see my physical form with his 2 eyes. But to see my real form, my real essence, you have to have the third eye. Without the third eye, you cannot see it. So that third eye is the eye of knowledge. So let us experience that knowledge and meditate. This is the time to meditate. There is a beautiful analogy in the scriptures where the prophet is talking about that I am going to go to a different kingdom and become a king. He gave 10 minas, currency. Minas was the currency of the old Jerusalem. So he gave 10 minas to every servant he had. And he said, multiply this money. When he came back, the master came back. He went to his first servant. The servant said, Master, I have multiplied this money. I made it tenfold. The master was very happy. He said, okay, you have made the money tenfold, I'll give you 10 cities. The second servant came, he said, master, I have multiplied your money 5 times. He got 5 cities. Lastly, the third servant came, he did not multiply the money. He said, master, this is the money you gave me, I am giving you the money. And the master was very unhappy. He says, you have not multiplied the money. I will not give you anything. The whole idea is to understand that the gift that we have received, we have to multiply that. Multiply that gift in your life, and your life will bloom with knowledge. So Sadguru, the main function of the Sadguru is like a honey bee that takes the pollen and beautifies the entire garden. Fruits manifest. So the Guru gives the knowledge. For example, in order to learn mathematics, we go to a maths teacher. In order to learn English, we go to an English teacher. In order to learn French, we go to a French teacher. In the same way, to learn spirituality, we go to a spiritual teacher. And the spiritual teacher is called Guru. Gu means darkness, Ru means light. The person who takes us from darkness to light is a Guru. So, my message is that we should meditate and make ourselves happy, meditate and do service. This is a very good opportunity to help Baiji in all the efforts she is doing. And thank you very much. Bless you all. Sabko mera dua आशीर्वाद. Hari Om Tatsat. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschit dukkhar bhave. Hari Om Tatsat.
बोलिए सद्गुरुदेव महाराज की
satsang in Hindi or English? Hindi.
भारत जो है वियतनाम की, साउथ कोरिया की, सबकी मदद करता है।
India helps all the Southeast Asian countries,
जो संस्कृति है
and the Indian culture
ज्ञान है
and the knowledge and
और देशों में देखने को मिली।
has spread across all those countries. So we have to make our country strong through sadbhavana, goodwill.
आपने देखा
Normally I'm shy to speak from the stage, but today my heart is so full I just can't express. Anybody who knows me knows that I am most unworthy of this. But in the scriptures it said that Maharaji's kripa is aheta kripa. There's no motivation, it's just so freely given. The relationship with the Master is something extremely special and very precious. He finds us. Often we don't even know what we're looking for, but He finds us. And He makes our life so joyous. He makes the path of self-realization so easy.